Hi everybody, welcome back to my TED Talk. I am Shae Howard, aka Shae Advocate, and we are on this series of hospital horror stories and my PTSD and how it happened over time. These are the main, stories, the main issues that I feel had a pivotal mark on my mental health. Again, I don't think that mental health is discussed not nearly enough when it comes to sickle cell and sickle cell patients. So for me to do this, I'm definitely, getting a form of therapy, but also understanding that, holding myself accountable to what it is that needs to happen in the future for me to heal from these things, for me to get past it. Now, I don't go into every hospital scenario carrying this, to an extent. I'm very cautious, but I'm also not having any attitudes or anything towards people who didn't do wrong to me, basically. Alright, so moving right along. Last video I talked about my childhood traumatic experience where I had to stop my medications, that my treatment for my sickle cell, that eventually did more damage than good, but it also, at the time, the doctors didn't want to stop it, so they called CPS on my grandmother because she wanted to actually listen to me, the patient. But okay, we talked about that. So now we're getting right along to part 2 of this series, and that would be me as a young adult and the traumatic experience that I had. I had a couple. One in particular that sticks out a lot is one Thanksgiving. I think I was like 20, 21, maybe 22 at the time, somewhere in that range. This hospitalization was one of the worst ones for me mentally, just because it was so serious. They couldn't get an IV. They had to have a doctor put one in my neck because I was just so sick. I had, again, another time, I had acute chest. I didn't have it often in my life. I think this might have actually been the second time I had acute chest in my life. And I was very sick. And I remember being at this hospital that I always would go to, receiving care, receiving treatment. At the time, I was in a long-term relationship, and my boyfriend spent every waking day and night with me in the hospital, except for Thanksgiving, because, I told him, hey, go home, get some rest, take a shower, go see your family, go stop. We both don't have to be cramped up in here, right? For a little while, go enjoy yourself. And so he did. And, I'm there by myself for the first time in this whole visit. By this time, it's been a little over a week. It might have been a week and a day. And the doctor comes in and, oh, you're supposed to be better by now. You should be better by now. I know that you're not in pain. You just want the medication. Just treating me as if I'm just there for drugs. Mind you, I had acute chest. I had a very severe crisis. It was a very bad crisis. So for me to be in there over a little over a week was about right. And so, I'm trying to explain to the doctor, because I'm like, well, maybe you haven't treated very many sickle cell patients, but this is about the norm, a week and a half or so, and then I'll start to get better. And I'm just trying to be calm and explain this. And meanwhile, this doctor is being very disrespectful, irate, unprofessional, talking to me, talking down on me, calling me out of my name. All of this because she knows that I have no one there with me at the time. And I could just remember, like, I remember the moment that I said, I'm done being, like, respectful. I'm done being calm. And I'm done trying to reason with someone who's obviously unreasonable. And so I started yelling and cursing and screaming. Mind you, this is not how I would usually act, but this is to the point that she brought me. And so when I got to that point, which I feel that she really, that was her intention all along, was to put me in that headspace, to get me to react. And then she's like, oh, I'm the victim because, oh my goodness, how could you talk to me this way? How could you be so disrespectful? And so where she messed up was that there was actually a nurse who was there the entire time. So the nurse witnessed everything that happened, just not just what I reacted to. And at the time, she didn't know that I was so knowledgeable about my illness, about what to do when I no longer want a doctor to be my doctor, because she thought I was just going to be stuck with her. And so at the time, like, I wanted to file a complaint. My boyfriend came back. He was upset because I was upset, and he saw everything, and I told him everything that happened. And so, you know, I was like, okay, I do not want her as a doctor anymore. And she came in, you have to have me. Oh, I do not have to have you as a doctor. So that was the first time, like, that I actually had to fire a doctor from my case. And in firing the doctor from my case, she was very shocked and surprised about that. And she was also shocked that I knew the right steps to take to file a formal complaint against her. And needless to say, I've never seen her at that hospital ever again. I don't know what happened. Not to say I did it, just to say sometimes when you make those necessary steps, things tend to happen. It was a very traumatic experience. It was very upsetting for me because I just never, had anyone just blatantly disrespect me like that because they felt I was alone. She took full advantage of that. And it took me a while to really get over that. Like, I remember after that, and I got sick, and I did not want to go to the hospital. I fully, waited way too long the next time because I just didn't want to deal with anything like that again. And that's what happens with a lot of sickle cell patients. We tend to suffer and wait at home just to not deal with being treated as if we're there just for drugs, just because of ignorance and, people just thinking they know who they're dealing with when they don't, because being prejudiced, being, all the isms, classism, racism, sexism, you name it, they got it, baby. So, yeah, that was definitely an experience that took me a while to get over. Yeah. Stay tuned for part 3 because it gets realer. Next, I'll be talking about how my pregnancy traumatic story, how I was told to send my baby back to God because I'm a terrible monster for wanting to have a child because I have sickle cell. Oh, yeah, that was fun. So that's going to be coming up next. That's going to be part 3. Hope you enjoyed this journey. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow, do all of it, I appreciate you for watching. Any questions, comments, concerns, put it in the comments and I will get back to you. Don't forget to start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Until next time, folks, peace.